toots out of the way. We're good.
I was recording for that. So that's the cold open.
Hell yeah.
Hey everybody, welcome. You have to watch this podcast. I'm Alan.
I'm Ryan.
And I'm Devin.
And this week we are rounding out our Oscars month, just under the deadline. We are recording this on the 28th of February. It'll be posting March 1st, but I'm counting it. Like we're recording it in February, so it counts for Oscars month.
Still counts.
Yes, it does.
So we wanted to do this episode earlier, but shit happens, and it. That's all we'll say about that. But we're here now, and that's what matters.
Mm-hmm.
So we got an exciting show today. We're going to talk about last year's Oscar winner for Best Picture, The Shape of Water, and then talk a little bit about the Oscars this year. Because also shit happens.
Yes.
And I'm very under the weather, so I'm going to be doing my impression of the female lead of Shape of Water most of this episode and not talk a lot. But
he will have a giant single number towards the end, though.
yeah, I feel like if I had cuts in the side of my neck, I'd feel a lot better. But maybe that's just the alternative medicine that I've been.
Yeah.
So to start this off, I believe Ryan had never seen this.
I have never seen this movie prior.
Devin, had you seen this?
I had seen it probably about 3 to 4 months ago.
Okay. I saw this in theaters, and I need to tell this story because it's a story.
Oh, God.
So I went to see this. It was on my birthday because it was a free ticket.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, I'm unemployed and I have nothing else to do on my birthday. My wife's working. I'm going to go see Shape of Water because it was like the front runner for the Oscars, and my birthday's in February or January. So it's like, I like Guillermo del Toro. This looks good. I'm going to go check it out. So I go see a matinee at like 1 o'clock in the afternoon. And
you old person
on a Tuesday, 1 o'clock on an afternoon in a Tuesday. Yeah.
That is old. That is old person time to see a movie.
Everyone's grandma was in the theater watching this movie with me.
I was hoping it'd be empty.
So what you're saying is that when you walked into the theater, you dropped the average age from 68 down to like 40.
Yeah. And it got awkward later on in the film when there's fish fucking. Like you just hear
not the masturbating.
Well, that, but
can I say that on this show?
You just did.
You just did.
Okay,
so
I just did.
Maybe that was the first scene, but I just remember the old lady's going, "Ooh, child!" Like,
oh no!
Like it was awkward, but I just sat there and ate my gummy bears. I'm like,
yeah,
I got this road to myself. I'm fine.
Just gonna plow through this. Oh gosh.
Yeah. So that was fun.
Man, do I wish my story was nearly that harrowing or dramatic. I watched it in my living room.
Yeah.
That was it.
Yeah. I mean, that happens. That's how I watch most movies. But I was like, you know what? It's a free ticket. I'm by a theater. Why not? Let's go.
Hell yeah.
And I was by myself too. So it's like,
yeah,
it started the trend of me going to the movies by myself, which I did a lot last year. Which
that
is fun.
Sounds sad, but we're all very proud of you.
Yes.
Yes. It spared my wife solo. So.
Aw.
So Ryan, since this is your first time watching it, I know going into this you were comparing it a lot to Splash.
Well, that's because
how did that comparison hold up for you?
Okay, so first off, the comparison to Splash and all the jokes that I did was because you told me when I asked you about Shape of Water was that it's basically the last half of Splash. Like the premise of it's basically the last half, like getting the mer person out of the lab.
I think I did say that when we did Splash, didn't I?
Yeah. So that's where all of the Splash jokes came from, was the fact that you said that was pretty much the last half of Splash.
So it was my joke and you just ran with it.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So I'm giving you full credit.
Sounds about right.
I'm giving you credit here. So I was expecting, the whole lab thing. So I was expecting the whole like lab thing. So that really wasn't, that big of a surprise. What I was surprised by, which I shouldn't have been because it's Del Toro, was the sexuality was French, very, very French, which would make sense in all honesty.
Interesting way to
I'm
put that.
Failing to make that connection. Why?
Yeah, what do you mean French?
Yeah,
Isn't Del Toro French? Or is he Spanish?
he's Mexican.
Mexican? Oh, I did not know that. I did not.
But I did get
His
get a
first name's
distinctly
Guillermo.
French vibe from this movie.
Yeah, I do too.
There's a movie, and I cannot remember the name of it, but it came out back when I was in high school, and it's a French film, and it's very popular. It's about a woman who works at a bakery. It was never translated to English. You can only get it with subtitles, and it's a very
Amelie.
that right,
Yeah.
yeah. This movie reminded me of that so much, and that's where I think I got that whole like French feeling to it. Like it was really weird. It was almost like they got like a European film crew to come over to America and film a movie set in the height of the Cold War, like make an American film.
Yeah,
Like there was it came across very French to me.
I think part
Yeah.
of that too is, and I was going to get into this later, but you know me, I always point this out. I
Yeah.
think part of that has to do with the soundtrack because there's a lot of accordion in that, and it
Yes.
sounds very French.
Yeah,
I think
But,
that's it.
um,
I think you're right.
but the thing is, it's not just that. Like it's the apartment.
Yeah,
It's the look of it. It's the fact that she's sleeping on a sofa and not a bed. It means it's very economy. She's penny pitching. Well, it's because of the job that
It's-
she works too.
it-
It's very urban, but it just like the colors, the hue of the colors,
Yeah.
the way that the camera angles were shot. Like there were very few moments where it didn't feel foreign.
yeah.
It didn't feel like a foreign film, and that was mainly when it was around the the agent guy, the what.
This film is as French as you can get for Baltimore.
I mean, yeah. I mean, it's just
Yeah.
yeah. I mean, it's just
Yeah.
and the thing is, I like that feeling to it. I did like I
Yeah.
just, it gave it the sense of there was enough surrealism in the way the movie was made and shot that fit the storyline. Because if they tried to film this just like a normal drama, like Splash, like let's say they did the same, like they didn't mess with the colors, they didn't try to be artsy with like camera angles and all that other stuff. They just filmed like
Yeah.
a straight like drama, like style. It to me, this would have fell flat. Like it wouldn't have fit. But the
Yeah.
fact that it had like the colors were, like either really brilliant or really dull to match what was going on.
Yeah.
I liked it for that. I really did.
Yeah. I mean, I think stylistically it was supposed to be more like a fairy tale. And
Yeah.
fairy tales are traditionally European, so they did a good job of trying to mimic that European feeling, even though it was Baltimore.
Yeah. Now I have the song from Hairspray going through my head. Good morning, Baltimore.
That'll just be the opening song for the podcast this week.
Yeah.
So I'm trying to find what all awards it won. It won 4 Oscars: Best Picture, which we talked about, Best Achievement in Directing.
Well deserved.
Yeah.
It won for music, so the score
Yeah.
and
Interesting.
production design. So that everything you're talking about,
Yeah.
which is what I thought it won for. Watching the trailers for this, I know you guys both play video games, but I never actually played this one, but I know enough about it. I got a huge BioShock feel from it.
Oh man.
When they're
Like
in the
that
lab.
retro science.
Yeah.
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 Like
I-
almost steampunk, but not really.
Oh, BioShock.
Yeah, like right on the
steampunk.
edge.
Well, no, I mean, I'm just talking
BioShock,
about I'm talking about the movie.
Yeah.
Which I really liked because I was like, oh man, this why can't you make a BioShock movie? Like I would totally watch that.
No, did you say that you haven't played it?
I haven't played the first one. I played BioShock Infinite.
Okay.
Ooh, it's a good one.
The first one
Mhm.
is amazing. It's
Yeah.
all underwater.
Yeah,
And it fits like the whole lab and the weird contraption thing that it was swimming in inside the lab. Like that all fits 100%. But I don't really remember the trailers for this.
I mean, I had just seen like clips and trailers
Okay.
online.
Yeah.
Like it wasn't one that I really sought out, but it was like, okay, this is getting a lot of buzz. I read
Mhm.
all the articles on who people think is going to win. So,
Yeah.
yeah. So, Devin, what do you got?
So, I mean, honestly, I really like the movie a lot. And I know I talk about stuff like this kind of a lot, but I'm kind of a sucker for like coding in movies and metaphor in movies. And this came out at just about the right time, I think, societally, that I think that like the coding in it was pretty clear and obvious. And I really appreciated that. Where I like that, you know, the Fishman was basically just a stand-in for like whatever kind of disenfranchised group that, you know, you could possibly imagine, because historically that's kind of what monster movies were, is they were like, hey, here's, you know, the Fishman, or here's the Blob, but it was kind of a stand-in for like other things, you know what I mean, like other kind of cultural shifts, so disenfranchised kind of groups of people. And I think that it worked really well in this. So I love that. I love the symbolism in the guy's fingers.
Yeah.
Did you guys? I thought that was, honestly, I wasn't expecting that.
What's the symbolism there?
Where like the grosser his fingers got, the all right. So I took this a couple ways. The first way that I took it was basically he represented the old values in like America at the time, and his fingers kind of rebelled against that. So the more his fingers deteriorated, the more what everything he stood for kind of deteriorated at the same time. So his sanity, American values, and his fingers all deteriorated at the same time. And I thought it was brilliant. I thought that was so cool.
Okay.
So yeah, now the one thing that I kind of took that a tiny bit differently, I don't know.
Sure.
I might just be
Absolutely.
explaining the same thing differently. You can tell me if
Mhm.
I am or not.
Yeah.
Like you said, like he kind of embodied like the nuclear family 1950s, early 1960s type, like American stereotype.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I feel like the fingers were basically the negative in that stereotype. And the more that he felt that slipping away, the more the anger and the like, the more the more of his anger and desperation to keep hold of that and to like force it to still exist, basically rotted, like kind of went along the same way of like rotting the fingers out. And then by the time he ripped his fingers off, it was pretty much that he was just abandoning the entire thing, and he didn't care what he had to do to actually like do, you know, to like carry out his mission.
Yeah.
Which
Right.
I never saw him living towards the end of the film, to be honest. I knew he was dead either one way or the other, and
Oh yeah.
I think his last words was perfect for the type of person he was, and especially for the type of things he talked about through the movie. Like his last words were perfect.
Mhm.
So spoilers for Shape of Water.
At this point,
What remind
What
me?
we do.
Because I'm on a bunch of Dayquil.
oh
what
God,
was
you
that
are.
words?
He said, "You are a god."
Okay.
Yeah.
That's right.
Because the tribal
Yeah.
people in the Amazon, like they said that they worship this thing like a god, and
Yeah.
they joked about that because they were all American Christians.
Yeah.
And then
There's only one
he was
God.
quoting scripture like
Huh.
through like half the film. His character's quoting
Yeah.
scripture and talking about, you know, like ancient cities and this and that.
To quote Captain America, there's only one God and he doesn't dress like that.
So yeah, but still, I mean that's how I saw the whole finger thing.
Yeah.
Sure. Yeah.
Not gonna lie, when I went back and rewatched this for the show, that when it came to his finger stuff, like that scene where he takes it off, I was like, nope, can't do it. Not gonna look. Just gonna.
Oh no, it was
Turn my-
gross.
It is gross, and in the theater, like all the little old ladies were like, that's nothing. But they've seen some shit because they're all old women.
Yeah.
Right.
Well, the thing with me, the worst part with his fingers for me was when he was in the car, when he realized they were rotting.
Yeah, when he like just
Mhm.
takes them up and sniffs them like
Yeah,
he's
he
Barry
sniffs
Catholic
them.
Gallagher.
And then he
Oh.
squeezes the one and pus comes out of where
Yeah.
the stitches were. Like to me, that was worse than him ripping the fingers off and throwing.
Oh no, like the whole thing. What's like the car? Like once he sniffs them, I was like, okay, I'm done. Right? I don't need to see the rest of
Yeah.
this. So what do you guys think of the romance aspect of it? Devin, what do you think of their relationship?
I loved it. I liked where it came from. I liked that it was. I like her role in it particularly because I think for the genre of movie that we were going for, traditionally she is supposed to be a smart, well-spoken, very pure individual, and they didn't set her up like that at all. I mean, the first scene of the movie is her masturbating to an egg timer, and then like they just kind of like go from there. And I really love the fact that it's her with this monster. I don't think it was as creepy as I think I thought it was going to be going into it. So it's going to be like, oh, fish sex. I'm going to be uncomfortable. But I wasn't. They did a very good job of it. So like I appreciated it. I thought it was well realized for what it was.
Yeah, you can definitely feel their connection. Like
Yes.
that connection when it's established makes sense. It's not like forced. Like you can see these two beings being drawn to each other for similar reasons. They both have trouble communicating and are able to communicate with each other, and that really builds a bond.
For how
Absolutely.
much talk of fish sex people have about this movie, I was actually really disappointed. All they show her doing is stepping into the shower, and they pull the curtain. That's it. That's literally it.
You wanted to see his dick?
Did you know that they actually made a sex toy based off this movie?
No, they didn't.
They
Dude,
did.
they make sex toys based off of everything.
I know, but
What?
they specifically made a sex toy based off this movie, based off the Fishman.
Does it do the thing?
I
where,
have
like,
no idea. I just heard about this.
I know that I remember that happening. I know that they also made sex toys based off of Aquaman.
I'm not surprised.
Yeah.
Oh.
So
10 years ago, if I had told you Aquaman was the #1 grossing DC movie of all time and that there's sex toys based on the film, would you have believed me?
Not even a little bit. Not even a little bit.
It's
I would have
crazy.
figured it'd be in the chain of like Mega Shark versus Giant Octopus type line of movies.
You know, that sounds like Aquaman, Mega Shark versus Giant Octopus. Like that could be an Aquaman movie.
Oh yeah.
Like I'm pretty sure that might have happened at the end of Aquaman now that I think about it. But
Is there a scene where a 300-foot shark jumps out of the water and bites down an airliner in mid-flight? Because that happened in Mega Shark versus Giant Octopus.
That is the best part of that movie.
That is the only good
Yeah.
part of that movie.
I remember watching that in college and everyone just like, what the hell was that? Like we were all in like a common area watching it. Like, what the hell was that? And I was like, go on. What do you guys think of her relationship with her neighbor?
It makes sense. For
Yeah.
her being who she is and him being who he is, and in the time of what this movie was set in, I find it to be realistic. You have a woman who's mute, who doesn't have anybody. There is a single older man that lives next to her who is flamboyant in his private life.
It is nice too.
Yeah.
Yeah, but
I mean,
all of it.
it makes sense.
Yeah.
Like their relationship makes sense, and the whole thing about her character not being like pure, just like you said,
Yeah.
you know, it's like well spoken. I don't really see her as being unpure. I just see her as being normal.
Yeah, I think I meant
Like,
traditionally pure.
Yeah, true. It's just
Yeah.
I actually like. I really like the fact that they set it up like that to show that, hey, she has a routine. She's a normal person. You know, she
Right.
can't, you know, speak, but this is who she is.
Yeah.
I just felt my thing with the movie was that I would have preferred it if she didn't have the scars on the neck.
How would the
Why?
ending have played out for you then? Because I think that was my favorite part. I love the scars on the neck that turned into gills. I think
See, I saw that coming from a mile away.
Yeah.
Oh, see, I didn't because I'm an idiot. I had no idea.
I saw those scars and I just thought of that Disney Channel original movie, The 13th Year.
Yeah, I didn't even think
Yes.
of that. I saw the scars. I'm like, oh, they're set up like gills. She's a fish. Like she's a fish that that it healed over because she was on land. And I have a very strong feeling that that's what would have happened to him if he would have stayed out of water too long. That he would have started turning human.
So wait, you're saying she was a fish all along?
Yes.
Ooh.
Oh, I thought it was just a big metaphor for she's a fish out of water. Get it?
No.
Gills on her neck.
I-
Get it?
I didn't take it that way. That's an interesting way to take it, though.
Because I mean, think about it. Okay, so the gills on the neck were 3, the same length, right in the middle of the neck. look at the fish man's neck, he has 3 gills that come down from the top of the head and the back of the head down to almost his like trach. So if you look at that and you look at the middle part on the neck where her scars are and where his gills are, they line up perfectly.
Huh.
She is a female mer person. He's a male. I would not be surprised that if maybe I'm wrong about the whole thing about being on land, and he stays out of water for too long, he starts to turn human.
Well,
maybe I'm wrong about that.
Okay.
Maybe their species, maybe that's how the females are.
Okay, well, hold on. They established that she was an orphan.
She was orphaned, that she was left.
Yeah,
they never
so
talk about her parents.
If she's a baby and left on land, maybe she transforms into human.
Maybe.
Yes.
I like
there's
this.
something about like a kid, that like if the baby's left on land before a certain point in their life cycle, they turn into a human, but they always keep the scars for the gills.
I like this fan theory, but I also
like that too.
I like it as like a theory, but I like the idea of him being able to transform her and take her with him.
Okay, so that yes, without the scars. For me, having the scars on both sides of her neck, the same length on either side, because they try to play it off that like, oh, the people that had her before, they did that to her purposely to make her mute. No, she's a fish to begin with. That's why she masturbates in the water.
Oh.
And she likes water herself. The only time she's sexually active, if I can remember correctly, is when there's water involved.
Okay, hold on.
Uh-oh.
So, going back to the opening of the film, she's dreaming that she's underwater.
Yes.
Yeah.
Fucking A. She's a fish.
Yeah, dude, I think we did it.
She's a fish the entire time. Like, that's one of these things that, like, as soon as I saw the
I'm going to write to
stars...
Guillermo del Toro right now.
Yeah, get him on the phone.
That reminds me. Devin, don't you have a Guillermo del Toro story?
I do have a Guillermo del Toro story. I scared him. I worked at
you
a
scared
haunted
the
house.
Man that made Pan's Labyrinth?
I did. It was great. I used to work at a haunted house that was currently in the middle of being purchased by Lionsgate. Lionsgate purchased the haunted house.
Ooh.
And the main person that was spearheading the purchase, the acquisition, was Guillermo del Toro. So we had a night where Guillermo del Toro walked through the haunted house while I was an actor in it. So I was a zombie in the Pittsburgh zombie section and shuffled around the corner, got into his face, and went, and it got him. It got him good.
Okay, so for people who are listening, Devin kind of was on the side and then jerked towards the camera and then reached his head back as he snorted with his mouth wide open. Okay, because just the noise doesn't.
I zombied.
He's zombied.
I zombied.
That's a great Guillermo del Toro story.
It's my favorite Guillermo del Toro story.
I have one. I went to the theater and watched one of his movies.
Which one?
Oh,
Which one?
Okay. So no, actually, Golden Army 2.
Okay.
I mean the
Hellboy 2.
Yeah. Hellboy
Okay.
2.
The real reason we're doing this is so Ryan can bitch about the new Hellboy some more.
No, I'm done.
Actually,
I'm done
this was
bitching
part of
about
the
it.
reason he didn't do a Hellboy 3. I think.
oh really?
No. This is why he didn't do Pacific Rim 2. It's the reason he didn't do one of the sequels. I
Pacific
don't
Rim
know.
2 makes more sense because
Yeah.
the timing lines up for that better than
Yeah.
Hellboy 3.
I know he was trying to get Hellboy 3 after this was done, and then
Oh sure.
they're just like, no.
Yeah.
Did he lose the rights to
We're
it?
going to give it Hopper. We're going to give it to Hopper from Stranger Things. So,
I'm excited for
I
it.
did see the new one's going to be rated R for like bloody violence. Not like-
I'll have
not
to
like-
wait
make
and
it
see
different
it.
Deadpool.
I'll have to wait and
Pretty
see
much.
it.
I think that's what it's going to be.
It's kind of what the trailer reads it as. It's like
Yeah.
different Deadpool.
All right, we're not talking about that
Yeah.
Hellboy, but let's talk about Guillermo del Toro a little bit.
Okay.
So
Yeah.
I like his stuff.
yeah.
Yeah.
So you like the Hellboy series?
I love the Hellboy series. I love Pan's Labyrinth. He has an eye and a vision for things that make him extremely unique in what he does. And I love his monsters. I can't help but say it any differently. Like
That's
the
one thing
guy-
he's
Yeah.
been known for a while is just his creatures, and that I think that was the big draw
Yeah.
for Pacific Rim.
Yeah.
I think I have to say this might be the only movie of his that I've seen.
You haven't seen Pan's Labyrinth?
I haven't seen Pan's Labyrinth. I've seen
haven't
Hellboy, but
either.
I don't count it. I haven't seen Blade 2. Yeah, this might be the only one of his that I've seen, like the whole way through. So,
I'm like bright-eyed and my mouth's hanging open right now with both of you.
yeah.
Yeah, seriously. I
Out
saw
of-
The Hobbit.
Out of
He did that.
all of his
No,
mo-
he didn't.
No.
Didn't he? Oh, okay. It was listed here.
He wrote that.
Oh.
If
He was supposed to, and then he backed out, and then Peter Jackson's like, I guess I'll do it again. And then he
Ah.
ruined it.
like out of all of the movies that he's done that you guys haven't seen,
Uh-huh.
Pan's Labyrinth is one that we should do.
Yeah, that's definitely one that needs to go on the
I
list.
heard it's good.
I've heard good things about it. That's been on my list for a while, so
Like-
that's definitely going on the list.
Like I remember
Good.
watching that. I watched it in my basement with Chris, the one that you used to work with at State
Yeah.
College. We watched it together, and I remember the one scene with the frog. And I'm not going to go into it, but like him and I both like just stared at each other, like, "What the hell did we just see?"
Is he playing a banjo on a lake?
I
no.
hope so.
It's the complete opposite of playing a banjo on the lake.
A trombone on a mountaintop. Got it.
What did you guys think of the monster itself, like the makeup?
I
It
wasn't,
reminded me of Hellboy so
Ye-
much.
yeah,
Just because it was the same actor?
Also
As
that.
Amphibian?
Like-
Amphibian?
Wasn't there a blue character in Hellboy though?
yeah,
Yeah,
the fish.
the fish guy.
Yeah. That's
So
what it
Abraham
looked
Sapien.
Same guy.
And that's why I wasn't a big fan of the fish in this one for about the like first couple scenes he was in. Because I didn't
Sure.
like how similar he looked, but then I was like, whatever, I'm just going to go with it because how many ways can you make a humanoid fish person look different than other versions of humanoid fish people? Like there's only so
Yeah.
much you can do to like differentiate between them. I'm just happy that they didn't make them look too human like they did Abe Sapien from Hellboy, which fit for Hellboy. Like
Right.
like Abe Sapien's look for Hellboy fit.
Yeah.
This, the fish makeup and everything fit for that. It was the same actor?
Yeah.
I did not know that.
Yeah, Doug Jones. He also played you've seen Hocus Pocus, right?
Yeah.
You know Winifred's old boyfriend who she brings back
Him?
from the dead? Yeah.
That's him
Doug
too?
Jones. That's him too.
Oh, yes.
Ah.
This is connecting a lot of movies for me. I'm liking this.
Yes. Yeah, he's in a lot of stuff. Pretty much whenever they.
Hey.
Oh, he's on Star Trek Discovery. He's the
Okay.
main
That's right.
alien guy.
Okay.
Devin, you like Star Trek, right?
A little bit. I'm not as big as a fan as I think my trivia about it leads anyone to believe.
Okay, so not enough
I
to
didn't
get
know a lot about
CBS.
it.
Not enough to buy CBS All Access and watch Discovery.
I've seen an episode and went neat, and that was it.
Okay, moving on.
Devin, I think you and I are about the same in our trekkiness.
Yeah,
Like,
you
it's
know a lot
enough
of,
to
like,
be
stuff about it.
Yeah, like it's enough to be interested in like the new shows and kind of like, oh, I wonder what the ship looks like and who the characters are and like where it fits in the timeline, and that's about it.
Yeah.
Because my thing was next gen, and I'm good. Like next
Yeah.
gen, I'm good, and I'll
But
watch.
they're
the
bringing
movies.
back Picard.
I know.
They're bringing back Picard,
They're giving him his
Yeah.
own show.
Yeah.
the second best captain of the Enterprise.
Who's the first?
Fight me.
Who's the first?
It's Shatner.
Okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
What?
I mean,
Because you can say multiple answers to that. Like there's not
absolutely
just two.
you can. Absolutely.
It's
no, I
not
know.
just Shatner, Picard.
Yeah,
It's
yeah. That's
now you
that's
got
really the
Pine and-
dichotomy
yeah,
there.
Yeah. But yeah.
Not Pine.
Picard's my favorite. I don't care.
I don't
I mean, Picard is objectively the better captain,
yeah.
but Kirk is cool. But Shatner's cooler.
Are we talking like series Shatner or
Movies.
He's only series Shatner.
only
No,
series?
movie
okay.
Shatner's a whole other thing.
Okay. I see. I haven't seen enough of the series.
I
to
just
know.
like Patrick Stewart. Like that's my thing.
Oh.
Like I just
Oh, he's great.
I love him as a human.
Mhm.
I love his character on Star Trek Next Gen. I like Next Gen better than any other Star Trek series there's ever been. That's why it's Picard for me.
Yeah. I get that.
My wife agrees. I just hear from the other room after Ryan said all that. Yep. What's the show about today?
Oh, Shape of Water.
That's right.
Right.
How did we hit on Picard?
I don't know. Because the Amphibian Man.
Oh yeah.
They have him listed as Amphibian Man, which
Amphibian Man.
Really?
yeah. I kind of want to read the screenplay. So every time that he does anything, it just says, "And the Amphibian Man's hand reaches the glass of the tube."
Honestly, though, that makes sense because they do talk about him having two separate types of lungs.
Oh,
So, like, that actually makes sense.
I'm curious if they had like a name for him on set, like Bill.
Chuck.
They just called him Gil on set.
Gil.
Yeah. Oh, I like that.
Oh my God, your lung fell out. Oh my God. I should have had like a steak to throw on the floor for a splat sound.
That would have been awesome.
I can fix it in post.
Oh, you should fix it in post.
So this, we talked a little bit about this when we talked about La La Land. This film does subtle, like, ode to Hollywood stuff. How do you guys feel about that?
Where?
Well, they're always watching like old musicals, and the movie theater down below, and the musical number.
Okay, so that so for me, this movie was a mixed bag. Like my overall feeling for it. I loved how it was shot. I loved the color. Sorry. I loved how this movie was shot. I loved the color. I loved just the whole like foreign feel to it. I loved the characters, the effects, that type of stuff. But then there's other stuff that I hated. And I really felt like that musical number was way out of place.
Oh, yeah?
Like to me, the thought of her trying to say those words and like the light on her at the table and things started getting dark. Like to me, it was like, oh my gosh, she's going to start speaking. She's going to start to talk. But in, reality, he was going to, the fish guy was going to look up and she was going to be going, trying to speak. And then it turned into this like thing from Grease where the guy comes out of the clouds and calls her beauty school dropout. Like that's how weird it was for me. Like it to me, I guess it fits with the way that they were filming the movie and the way that it was shot. I didn't like that. I love the fact that they had him really interested in it, and he would talk about his glory days and how that like he can only recognize his eyes and how he feels like he was either born too early or too late. Like I loved all that with the musical numbers. I loved it. I didn't feel.
I think the whole dance sequence plays into her active imagination because throughout the film you see her like dancing to herself, and like the film opens with her dreaming that she's underwater.
Yeah.
So like it's just a whole dream. Like I just take it as a dream sequence. So and I like it feels a little bit weird, but at the same time she's in love with a fish man.
Okay.
So
and that's fine. And that's fine.
That,
and I totally understand that. And I do. And I really feel like this is more of a sense of opinion.
Yeah.
So, I mean, so for me, on my sense of opinion for this, either have the musical number or have flooding the bathroom scene.
Yeah.
Have
not
one
both.
or not exactly, not
right.
both.
Devin,
either have the dance number or have her turn her bathroom into a fish tank.
Okay, Devin, what were you trying to say?
Well, I just think there's this really strong through line of her being obsessed with, like, I don't know if it was current school, but I guess it would have been slightly older school Hollywood. That dance sequence they do is almost shot for shot from the 1936 movie Follow the Fleet. And that's something that she herself would have seen.
Is that something you knew, or is that something you read?
That's something I looked up.
Okay.
And then so before, if I don't see a movie, so you know about me, if I haven't seen a movie in a while, what I'll do is I'll do plot summary and then I'll do fun facts about it. And this is something that I looked up just beforehand because trust me, I've never seen 1936's Follow the Fleet. Okay. And I guarantee you this movie is going to make me watch 1936's Follow the Fleet.
Was Follow the Fleet done by MGM?
Probably.
It sounds like an
now that
MGM kind of.
because I watched a documentary they made on MGM like 2 years ago. And now that you mention that, I do remember a clip of that like stage of like the giant like lighted door window thing in the middle with the band off to the side. Like I remember that, seeing that in the documentary. So yeah. I mean, it is something that you would have seen, especially living over a theater like that.
And I feel like they tied a lot of her personality to movies because, I mean, again, I looked stuff up about the movie, so like hate me if you will, but they did a good job of tying the color red in this movie to her love and affection, but also to the cinema doors. Like the doors of the movie theater were red, just like her jacket was when they were making out underwater and stuff. So I feel like they did a good job of tying all of those things together. And even like first scene was her like tap dancing in the hallway.
Yeah. And those shoes that she buys.
Yeah.
I'm trying to find out if that's
MGM. But I am with Ryan on some of this though. I think the part of it that like almost broke my immersion was the flooding the bathroom scene, where I was just like, how are these that airtight? Why is this holding all this water? I understand, but like that was the one part of the movie that made me go, really?
Yeah. Yeah, I totally don't buy that either. Because that's supposed to be something that actually happens. But
like, because I mean, like to me, like the movie theater manager comes up and yells at the neighbor, and he goes in, and there's water skirting out the door, just like a Bugs Bunny cartoon. You know, like you fill up a door with, you know, a room with water, and there's only going to be a few leaks.
Yeah,
and like that, and she turns on like the tub and the sink. I'm like, I'm sorry, but it's going to take the entire day for the water to reach 6 inches on the floor, let alone fill up the whole thing in 5 minutes.
Well, there's one way to find out. Let's do some science.
It's okay. I hate the neighbors below me. Let's do this.
All right. What do you guys think about Octavia Spencer in this? She has a nice little side part.
I actually liked her a little bit. Like it kind of broke you out of like the dreaminess of the movie and kind of like, hey, this is a real world person, to kind of like give you that breath of like air every now and then. I liked it.
I mean, one of my awkwardly favorite parts of this movie is that the main character and Octavia Spencer weren't like top scientists at this research facility that fell in love with their research. I love that they were just basically janitors. And I love some of the shots of them cleaning these like vastly like huge and weird and scientific things. I think it's fun.
Yeah, I really like that element too, because it would be weird if it was the scientist falling in love with the fish.
Yeah,
and you get that a little bit with the Russian guy. But and to have them in there after hours where she can have alone time with him, that helps that the relationship build too. And somebody who's mute would be an overnight janitor at a laboratory like this, I would think, back then.
Right. So how did you guys feel about Michael Shannon's weird, like, awkward lust thing with the main character? For me, that was literally the hardest thing to watch about this movie.
Yeah, that still doesn't make much sense to me. Like,
are you the actor you're talking about? He's the one that plays the agent,
the bad guy with the fingers.
Okay,
General Zod, if you will.
Yes. Okay, thank you. Now I've got a face and a name to go with each other. Okay, that whole thing, especially after like showing his home life, and the fact that like they pretty much make it apparent that when he goes home, he has full access whenever he wants. Like they make that pretty much apparent, which I have no problem with nudity and sexuality in movies, but that was a bit much.
Yeah.
Like, I know that they were trying to show his character a little bit, show how just kind of like, you know, like he's the king of the castle type thing and like the type of wife that he has. But like, I didn't need to see his butt. No. I didn't need to see his butt clench.
I mean,
like I seriously didn't need to see that.
They did a good job of framing that so it was disgusting.
Like, I think you're supposed to be disgusted by him.
Yeah, I know. But still, I got the whole disgusting part before all of that happened.
I think his whole deal is he's been spending so much time hunting this monster.
Yeah.
And now he has it. So he's like, everything that he's built, he's just unhappy with now.
Yeah.
Like he built everything to get to to get this thing, and now that he has that thing, he's like, oh well, this is boring. Like, I don't want this. I want what I can't have.
Yeah.
Like, I already have
Still
this.
obsessed with winning. What happens when he won?
Yeah.
I like that.
Which the wife is better off anyway with him
Yeah.
being dead. So just saying.
Oh yeah.
Even in that time, because she would have to have her dad come to help sign for a bank account. Didn't know if you knew that for back then, but yeah.
Oh yeah, that's right.
She would have to be dealing with that, but I think that'd be better than dealing with him.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So what'd you guys think of the whole Cold War era subplot to this as well?
I think it fit. When it comes to this type of a movie, like this is like sci-fi fantasy, because you're dealing with technology that would have been way out of line out of hand for that time period. But to me it fit because there's no other. I mean, I love stuff that makes fun of the Cold War, especially on our end of things.
Yeah.
Oh
So
yeah.
this fits right into that.
This movie, like you talked about this a little bit, it mixes so many genres.
Yeah.
Like, you've got the sci-fi, you got the fantasy, you got the romance, you've got the political thriller with the Soviet Union stuff. Like, it really checks a lot of boxes, and I think that really helped it win Best Picture.
I agree.
Well, because it took the social commentary of that era to the extreme. Like, it took everything.
Yeah.
Because, I mean, even nowadays, but even like back then, like you're a school teacher in like the 50s or 60s. You've got the American flag in your school because you're at war with communism. You're at war with Russia. The entire social structure of this country, economically and socially, is at war with this other country that is supposed to be completely opposite. So in the middle of your day, you got an air raid drill because a nuclear war could break out. So there you've got war, family, suffering, just everything.
Yeah.
There's no way to do a storyline in the 50s and 60s and not cover everything that has to do with that culture back then. Like, and even the religious aspect of it.
It's not even just touching on things from back then. It touches on a lot of things from today. We talked about it already with their relationship and it being like the disenfranchised. You also have got her neighbor who's gay.
Yeah.
And like is having trouble with that because he's looked down
He's hitting
upon.
on the guy at the pie.
Yeah,
place.
and he gets kicked out.
Yeah.
You have the racism in the
Yeah.
pie shop. You've got the Russian thing, like the Russians like getting involved in our shit. Like, this movie could be set in like 2016.
Oh my god, it could though.
But see, I think that's the point. It's because take the whole. Take Russia out of it or keep Russia in it for 2016.
Mhm.
Doesn't matter because it seems like we're going back to that anyway. You could. Everything is still there. Like everything is there, set in the 60s with topics that are issues now because the same topics that they were then. I mean, yeah, we've made like progress on some issues, but it's all surface progress. It's nothing deep.
Right.
It's nothing to actually make any change. It's just behavioral changes in our country.
Yeah.
That's what I mean, they were talking about like just to do something little. This wasn't brought up in the film, but if you pull a newspaper from the 20s, pull a newspaper from the 40s, pull a newspaper from the 60s, and you will find articles about when people go to vote, they should have to show their ID.
Oh yeah.
Because it's always been an issue. Everything in this movie has always been an issue in this country, and that's why it's timeless. The racism, the homophobia, the issue with national pride, the issue with religion, and it all being tied together, like how just like how it's shown in this movie. You've also got reasons for everything, though. Every topic they touched has a reason, because the gay neighbor wouldn't have come back and helped her if he wasn't rejected by his crush at the pie diner and seeing him kicking out the black couple. If it wasn't for that, he wouldn't have come back and said, I'm going to help you with whatever you need, because he finally saw Devin, which you brought up, the whole coding thing. If it wasn't for him being treated like that and then realizing that he was treating her like that, he would have never came back.
We lost Devin.
We lost audio.
We have video. We can't hear you.
Hey, how did you lose Devin? I'm here.
There we go.
We could see you. We couldn't hear you.
Okay,
So-
Oh, sorry about that. No,
Yeah.
I mean, but Ryan, you're absolutely right. Like, yeah, I completely agree.
Yes.
Anything else we want to touch upon?
I mean, other than the fact that everybody talks about fish sex and all it was her stepping behind a shower curtain. Just saying.
It
Yeah,
was super blown out of proportion.
but you know what's going on behind that shower curtain.
Yeah, I
Oh,
also know what was
yeah.
happening in the bathtub, but they showed that clear as day.
He's not the only one that's swimming.
Oh god.
All right, Devin, any final thoughts?
I like this movie. I would watch it multiple times. I
Okay.
think that other people should watch the movie.
I
Okay.
could have done without him eating the cat.
Oh yeah, he
Just
does eat
saying.
the cat. Don't watch this
Effort.
movie.
I could have done without seeing him eat the cat. Like knowing that he ate the cat's one thing, but seeing just a bloody stump for a head.
Okay. So, Ryan, you said you were mixed on this movie.
Yeah, just
Would
yeah.
you recommend? Would you watch it
Oh.
again?
I would watch it again to show it to somebody else.
Okay.
That's pretty much it.
Okay.
Which I would recommend for people to watch,
No.
and I would offer to show it to people.
Okay. Now here's the question. I'm going to read the list of the other films it was up against for Best Picture, and I think
Ooh,
I
interesting.
think between all of us, we've seen most of these. So I'm going to ask a question afterwards. I'm going to list these, and I'm going to ask, do we think Shape of Water deserved it?
Okay.
So the other nominees for Best Picture last year were Call Me by Your Name,
Oh man.
Darkest Hour, Dunkirk, Get Out, Lady Bird, Phantom Thread, The Post, and 3 Billboards Outside Ebbing, Missouri.
Damn, that's a good year for movies.
Is Shape of Water Best Picture? Did it deserve
man.
Here's the thing. I would say my knee-jerk reaction would say that I personally liked Get Out more than this. The problem is that Get Out, even though is an amazing movie and has terrific social commentary for, it's a
Yeah.
great movie. Artistically speaking, this movie's better. So if you're going by just the art form of the film, I'd pick this over the
Okay.
other ones.
Devin, what are your thoughts?
All right. So I've seen Call Me by Your Name, Dunkirk, Get Out, 3 Billboards, and this one. I think I'm mostly in the same mind as Ryan, where
Okay.
I think artistically this did more.
That's where I'm at too.
Yeah,
Um,
I mean,
this
yeah,
film is,
Dunkirk was the only thing that came close artistically, but this
Yeah.
had more to say than Dunkirk did.
and Dunkirk can be confusing. Like I've only seen it once. I need to go back and watch it again. So if you
Yeah.
only see it the one time, you might not know what's going on there. So
Yeah.
have you seen Dunkirk?
No, but I want to.
Okay, we'll have to
It's
put that
good.
on, we'll put that on the list. Then Devin and I can tell our Chris Nolan stories.
Hell yeah, we can.
But no, this movie, Shape of Water, fires on all cylinders. Like you've got the cinematography there, you've got the design. Guillermo del Toro does a great job of executing everything. Like he had such a vision with this, and he executed it perfectly. That's why he won Best Director. So I completely agree with it. This winning Best Picture, and I was ecstatic to see that it won because it was like the only one that I saw at the time. Like I did see Get Out, so it was like this or Get Out.
Yeah.
because I never get to see all the Oscar nominees by the time of the Oscars.
Oh,
Never
yeah, I haven't
happens.
yet.
1 year it will.
We'll make an effort.
The year where they let me go see the movies for free because I do a podcast about movies.
Heck yeah.
That'll be the year.
Sponsor us, AMC.
Yeah. I almost watched a bunch of the movies this year. Like I had all day off on Sunday. I was like, you know what? I'm just going to sit down and watch 3 movies that were nominated for Best Picture. And then
Yeah.
I didn't.
Aw.
I think we watched One Day at a Time on Netflix instead. So
Oh, nice. How was it?
it was good. I like that
Good.
show. If you haven't seen that show, I highly recommend it.
I really want to.
Oh my god. Okay. So this year for Best Picture, the nominees were Black Panther, Black Klansman, Bohemian Rhapsody. 3 movies with B titles. Damn.
Oh yeah.
The Favorite,
Oh yeah.
Green
What?
Book, Roma, A Star Is Born, and Vice. There were B's in the title. 3. Never mind.
I missed the one movie
Oh.
that you said.
Oh, The Favorite.
No, I feel like I missed a movie because I was trying to register what you said.
Oh, okay. Bohemian Rhapsody.
Oh, okay.
Green Book won. I haven't seen any of these except for Black Panther.
I saw Bohemian Rhapsody.
What'd you think?
It should have went 5 for 5.
It should've
Really?
won.
It was
It
that
should
good.
have went 5 for 5.
Okay. Here,
No, granted,
Wow.
I'm biased, and I'll tell you why.
okay.
One, I like Queen. I'm a big fan of Queen.
Nah.
Second, I love Freddie Mercury
Okay.
and his
Okay.
backstory. I knew it before the movie came out to a point, but it's a biopic.
Mhm.
That's what it is. So I mean, it's kind of a generic, but it just doesn't. It's not just about Freddie. It's about everybody that was connected with him, how the band grew, and it deserved everything that it won. Everything
I will
that it
fight
did
you
win.
on that. I will fight you.
But you
on
haven't
that.
seen it yet.
Really?
I've seen a clip, and the fact that it won Best Editing just from that clip that I saw is motherfucking bullshit.
Was
It
it
is-
not that great edited?
It was a scene where they obviously
He's talking
they-
about a scene where they're meeting their manager for the first time, and they're going
Yeah.
back and forth because all of the actors are rapid firing talking.
it's not
It's
even that.
one
It's
scene,
it's
and it's not even the full scene. You
I
need
know.
to watch the movie.
I'll watch the movie, but the fact that got Best Editing, like if that's in the movie that won Best Editing as an editor, I'm embarrassed.
You need to
Okay.
watch.
I will.
the
I will
movie.
watch the movie. I'm holding out judgment, but I just from what I've seen of that, like I don't know.
You need to
Okay.
see the movie because believe me, when it won, everybody was blowing up about it. About oh my god, how could this win? And then somebody, just like with everything else on the internet, somebody took a clip,
Mhm.
a little piece of a scene, not even the full scene, and said, "Oh,
Uh-huh.
this was the movie that won Best Editing," and completely negates conversations with family, the performances, the Live Aid scene at the end, him dealing with the band members, them going on tour, all of the cam shots and fades and everything else, and it goes to just a simple talking conversation back and forth that wasn't done really the best, but at the
Uh-huh.
same time, like Shape of Water won.
Mhm.
There's
Yeah.
issues with this movie, with Shape of
Yeah.
Water. We talked.
It didn't
about
win
it.
editing though.
Yeah, I know, but I'm just saying it won Best Picture, and there's issues with the movie.
Yeah,
We were just talking about
every
it.
movie has issues.
I know. I'm just saying. So it won Best Editing, and you're going to flip out like you did over a clip that you saw online
'Cause that
without
clip-
seeing the actual movie.
That clip that I saw was horrendous. If that's one outlying scene in that movie, okay, I'll take it. But
I need to
see-
watch this clip
I need to
now.
see
I'm
it.
so mad I can't contribute
I
to
need to
this.
see the movie. I will watch the movie this week.
The clip is tailor made to make people like him mad.
Keep people like me with a film degree who do video editing for a living.
Like I said, one clip from one scene, not even the full scene.
But here's the thing, though. Like something like that will ruin the whole movie for me. Like even if I
Really?
hadn't seen that online, if I see something that poorly done, like it will take me out of it and just taint the whole thing. I'm not gonna let it for Bohemian Rhapsody. That was already done before the movie even came out. That the movie was tainted for me. I'm gonna give Rami Malek his due and watch it for
Yeah.
his performance. But there was I have other issues with that movie besides the editing that I still want to see it. Like I'm really interested in that story. Like I want to see it because I want to see it, but the movie was already tainted for me, and that clip did not help. But yeah, like we're gonna do Bohemian Rhapsody. That's gonna be on the show. I already
Oh, we
know
absolutely should.
I already have it on the schedule.
Yeah, no,
Yes.
I've been listening to the soundtrack since I watched the movie.
So
Like, I bought the Blu-ray
Queen's
and the
greatest
soundtrack.
Queen's greatest hits.
Actually, it's not just that because there's songs on there.
They put
that
Live Aid
aren't-
on that, right?
Live Aid's on there. The entire Live Aid performance is on there at the end. But
Oh,
there's
wow.
songs on it that aren't on their greatest hits albums because there were songs that fit the meaning of the meaning and feel of the songs fit what was going on in the movie and was songs that they released during that time period inside the storyline itself. So there are songs on there that aren't really on their greatest hits albums. And actually there's one song in there that I had no idea that they even did that's actually on it.
Yeah. While we're on the topic of Queen and Bohemian Rhapsody,
Yeah.
did either of you watch the Oscars?
No, I wasn't
Okay.
around for it.
I watched the Oscars while I was playing video games that night. Like I had it on my other screen while I was doing stuff.
Yeah.
And so they didn't have a host this year, which was weird.
How was that?
How did they do that?
Well, it was fine for most of the show.
Mhm.
What was bad for me was the opening number. They just had Queen with Adam Lambert come out and play We Will Rock You, which is fine. Like, that's a great way to start the show. End it there. But no, they opened the show with We Are the Champions following We Will Rock You. And I get that they're 2-1. Like, I know that's how that goes. But you don't start an award ceremony with We Are the Champions. Like, it was just really awkward.
Yeah.
Like it was just a weird way to start the show. Like,
They're all champions. They're all there.
they're all there, yeah, but they were like, play We Will Rock You and then go into another Queen song. Like, why not do a part of Bohemian Rhapsody? Or,
Maybe Adam Lambert wasn't good at that.
I mean, he tours with
Yeah.
them.
Yeah, I know, but I'm just saying.
Like, he's the new lead singer of Queen, so he has to be able to. If I go see Queen in concert, like if they play Hershey and Adam Lambert doesn't sing Bohemian Rhapsody, I'm demanding my money back.
I almost did that at a Jethro Tull concert. So I understand.
Why?
They didn't play Aqualung.
What? That's like the only one I know because Anchorman referenced it.
Yeah, they didn't play it. In fact, we were we were sitting behind a biker gang, a legit biker gang.
Great.
Like I'm talking
Great.
like the 1% patches, like on their vests.
Yes.
Yeah.
They follow whenever Jethro Tull is in the States and touring. They follow. They ride around, like they follow the vans, like they do the concert, and they're sitting there. I'm talking, these guys were bald, tattooed, long hair, everything, like the true stereotype, and they were mad. Like I was sitting there with my dad, and we were waiting for them to play Aqualung because honestly, that's the only reason why I was there. And they're playing all this music I've never heard of before. And like the guys are like, "Oh yeah, these are just stuff they play every now and then. They'll play it. Don't worry about it." And then they come out they don't play it, and they go off stage, and they come back and they play, like the 3-song thing to fans. They still don't play it, and they're just standing there like they've never not played Aqualung before. Like they look generally upset. I was mad. My dad was upset. Well, that's the only reason why you go see Jethro Tull is to watch Aqualung, is to hear Aqualung, and you don't play it.
Yeah.
Dumb.
I feel like I said a lot of negative things about Queen and Bohemian Rhapsody in the last 5 minutes, so I'm going to say a positive thing
Okay.
just to end that whole conversation. So at the Oscars every year, they do a little segment where they introduce each film individually.
Yeah.
For Bohemian Rhapsody, they brought out Mike Myers and Dana Carvey.
I saw that.
What?
I saw that clip.
And they
What?
were pretty much doing Wayne and Garth for like a minute. And
Yeah.
then they introduced the film and
They were
talked about how
That's
important it was
amazing.
to Wayne's World. Yeah, it was amazing. Like that was my
Holy
favorite part of the
shit.
Oscars. And
I don't know how long they had time to practice because they didn't really like.
I mean, they both get into it pretty. They don't get along. Like the fact that they did it was
You
impressive.
can tell that they don't get along.
They don't get along?
But no, Mike Myers is a dick,
You should
Is it
watch.
really?
supposedly.
Oh, by the way, he's
Oh.
also in Bohemian Rhapsody.
I know.
Okay, good.
Like I said, there are other things going into that movie.
Okay, so hang on a second. So the fact that he's in it, you don't like the fact that he's in it?
I think it's weird that I'm fine with him being in it.
Okay.
I just think it's weird. Like that's one that I'm like, oh, that's cool. It's weird, but okay. Like that's not my biggest problem with that movie. We'll get into my biggest problem with that movie after I see it and we talk about it around the time that the Elton John biopic comes out, because that's when we're doing it.
When's that one coming out?
Perfect.
What?
May.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay,
I am
so
excited for the Elton John
the-
biopic, though. I can't
The
wait.
thing is, though, I didn't even know it was him. Kristen had to tell me.
Oh yeah.
It was the second time I watched the movie that she told me that it was
And
him.
wasn't he dressed like his Gong Show host guy?
No. No. He's a record producer,
Yeah.
and he's sitting at a desk, and he's doing a very light British, like Scottish accent, and he's wearing like aviator sunglasses, and he has like a beard on his face.
Yeah.
I seriously didn't even recognize him.
He's very hard to recognize when he's not doing one of his characters. Like
Yeah.
even in Inglourious Bastards.
Yeah.
What?
He's hard. He's in Inglourious Bastards for like a scene. He's a British general.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
I was gonna make a cat in the hat joke, but I lost it. I played
No,
the
that
dick
was
well.
good enough. You mentioned it. That
Um,
was the joke in and of itself.
So, Green Book won Best Picture, so I guess we have to talk about that next year. So I'll probably watch it for our shows next year.
Oh, I'll definitely watch it for next year.
If they were
Is
gonna-
all right. So
if they
for
were
you
gonna
guys,
go with
is it as
green-
problematic as everyone says?
I don't
Do you
know.
guys are you guys just mad?
I haven't seen it. I'm less offended by. I'm slightly less offended by the stuff Green Book's pulled than the stuff that went on behind the scenes in Bohemian Rhapsody.
And
I don't know anything
even
about
know
that.
what kind of things he's talking about for
Okay.
Bohemian Rhapsody.
Yeah, it's a whole thing.
Really?
Because two of the band
Yeah.
members were there.
No, I'm not saying it has nothing to do with the band itself. Nothing I have issues with has to do with the band directly. It has to do with Bryan Singer and how he should never have gotten that job.
Oh, the
director.
director.
Yeah.
Okay, now I know exactly what you're talking
Yeah.
about. Okay.
I don't know any of this, so I don't want to. I want to go into the movie without any of this
Okay.
like prior knowledge, like just a fresh newborn babe.
I'll just
watch
I'll-
this.
okay, just to cleanse your palate a little bit, Devin. I'm
Yeah.
mad that the director of Superman Returns got Bohemian Rhapsody. That's why I'm mad.
Fair enough.
That's all you need to know.
All right, that's good enough.
Which,
Um,
in all fairness, even if it was the director, there's issues there.
Yes.
Malik is
Yeah.
fantastic.
We'll get into it. Like
I'm
I'm really
sorry,
excited to
like-
watch it for his performance. So
I got the movie for Kristen on Valentine's Day,
okay.
so on the
Aw.
14th. I have seen this movie 6 times.
Have you
since
watched
then.
Have you watched the full performance yet of Live Aid?
What do you mean
They have the full thing, and they recreated the whole thing.
for
What?
the movie?
No, they're like in the movie. It's not the whole thing. There's like a bonus feature that has the whole show.
Yes.
You watched it?
Their performance.
Yeah. There's more to it than there is in the movie.
Yeah, I know.
Okay.
Yeah. No,
That's what I'm asking. If
yeah.
You,
Yeah, no, it's the movie. Like, I've sat down out of the 6 times I've seen the movie. I've sat down and watched it 4 times.
okay.
The other 2 times was me having it on for like background noise to annoy the neighbors that keep on blasting their music at night. So I like to
Yeah.
blast any movie or music that I have early in the morning.
Oh, speaking of blasting music, this goes back to an episode that hasn't actually been out yet. But did you guys see that The Lonely Island is going on tour?
Are they?
Yeah.
You
What?
told me that, or you messaged
Yeah.
something about that.
Yeah, I think I sent it in the group chat.
Yeah, you did.
So
Oh, right. They're not coming to me, and I'm mad about it.
they live there.
But I don't get to see them enough.
They probably do
You
like
live in the same zip code. Zip it.
yeah.
My
You see what I did
friend, and this is totally off topic, ran into Chelsea Peretti and
Jordan
her
Peele.
husband and
Jordan
Jordan Peele on the
Okay,
street, like a
who?
block from my place, and I can't be more bitter about it.
Okay.
Director of Get Out
Okay.
and the secretary from Brooklyn Nine-Nine.
I'm so jealous.
Have you had like you've been in LA for like what, a year now?
Yeah, about a year.
Have you had any celebrity run-ins yourself?
Yeah, a couple. Yeah.
Who?
So, I mean, first off, Romana, I mean, this is Romana, not me, but she checked in Gary Oldman and his wife into her hotel, which, like, good job.
Oscar winner,
I
Gary
rode
Oldman.
the Universal Studios Hollywood Tram Tour with Patton Oswalt sitting like 3 rows behind me, which
Oh,
was
that's
fun.
cool.
Hang on.
And then,
Hang on. You,
what's
you,
up?
You rode what with Patton Oswald?
The Universal Studios Hollywood Tram Tour.
You rode the Universal Studios tour tram with Patton
Yeah.
Oswalt. Patton.
Right. Yeah. He
Oh,
was on
man.
it like everyone else was with his wife and daughter, and it was amazing.
I remember back when Conan had the Tonight Show on the Universal lot. Like they would do a bit
Oh,
where they
yeah.
would interrupt the tram tour. They would just run out of the studio and do shit
Oh, I
to mess
love
with
that.
it, and then it got canceled. Okay,
Aw.
so Gary Oldman, Patton Oswalt,
Gary
who else?
Oldman, panel, and then when I was so I do improv at UCB here, and next door to UCB, like by a little ways, is a GameStop that Romana and I were at, and Jack Black was there buying games for his son.
Oh, nice.
Nice.
Yeah.
He has a gaming channel on YouTube now.
Yeah, he does, and
He streams.
I feel like I saw the impetus of it.
Um,
I watched it happen.
Go check it out. I'm not going to
It's-
tell you what it is. Go watch it.
Is it a Twitch thing? Like,
No,
no. Okay. So it's
just
different than
just watch it from the beginning. Each video is like maybe 5 minutes long.
that. Okay.
Go through and just take an hour, watch them all. They're all good. You'll appreciate it a lot. It's not
Yeah.
it's not just him playing Fortnite. um, okay, cool. That's
Yeah,
awesome.
that was-
Yeah,
that was it.
have you seen anyone at UCB?
I have seen.
I know
what have
Jason.
seen? I watched.
Jason
Have you
Mizuki-
guys seen The Good Place?
Yeah.
I've seen Janet from The Good Place
Oh, nice.
because she's huge at UCB. Like she's a huge UCB person.
Yeah.
And then I've seen. Oh, what's his name? John Ralphio from Parks and Rec.
Ben Schwartz.
Yeah, Ben Schwartz does
Oh,
like
damn.
a pretty consistent show at UCB by my place, and I've like seen him exiting the theater.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so those are fun. And then before I got on stage for the first time I ever got on stage there, I like saw like because when the theater first opened, everyone like scribbled their name on the back. So like I saw like Chelsea Peretti's name, Ben Schwartz's name, like all those people like have their names all over the back of the theater, and like I loved it. It was like my favorite moment.
Yeah. That's cool.
So yeah, that was
How was your first show?
Oh, terrible. Like every 101 show is.
Yeah.
It was awful. Romano was supportive and amazing, but it was awful.
Well, one day we will make it out there to see you do improv.
Hopefully, and hopefully it's not terrible because that's how improv works.
Even if it is, you're just making it up. So,
Hell yeah.
All right. Well, I think that does it for Shape of Water because that's what we were
Yeah.
talking about. We got
That what
we got
started with
away from
that.
it a while ago,
It's
but
a simple. It's a simple film. It's a
It
simple
is.
I mean,
Yeah.
it's
Yeah.
complex, but it's a
we,
simple.
we had a lot to cover.
simple.
Like
Yeah.
We
we're ending our Oscars week, so tune in next week. Oh boy, do we have a treat! We're actually going to
excited.
revisit a film that Ryan and I did before Devin joined the show, but it's a big one, and I feel like Devin needs to see it too. So,
I feel like I do, yeah.
and it ties into something else. So I'm excited for it.
I'll probably have the same things to say.
Yeah, probably. But what's great
That'd
is
be
we
new
did
to
it
me.
so long ago that I forget what you said. So I'll probably fight you on those again.
You
So-
probably will. You probably.
But yeah, so for You Have to Watch This podcast, I'm Alan,
I'm Ryan.
I'm Devin.
and go fuck a fish.